Hi, this is Lauren with Verivest, and today we are meeting with David Hardcastle from Voyager Pacific. Welcome. Really excited to speak with you.
Yeah, great to speak with you today, Lauren. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to just hop right in and hear a little bit of your origin story and how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, so it was probably the late 80s or early 90s when I really got interested in real estate. And my mother was a school teacher. My stepdad was a policeman. We never talked about real estate or finance or money or anything when I was growing up. And so I read this book, No Money Down by Roger G. Allen, and it was in the late 80s or early 90s. And it just blew my mind that you could buy a property with no money. And I was like, how the heck do you do that? Because in our house, it was like 20% down. You had to save up and you had this mortgage and so on and so forth. So I read that book. And then in the early 90s, I bought my first property. It was a bank foreclosure from Bank of America and a small little house. But, when I toured it, I was like, man, this thing's a wreck. It smells terrible. There's no way I'm going to buy it. It's just disgusting. Right. But it was cheap, and so I end up buying it and fixed it up. And after a few years, I sold it and made a bunch of money on it. And I was like, wow. So that was kind of those two things, were the things that got me going in real estate and gave me the bug, so to speak, on real estate. And I've been a real estate junkie ever since. I love it.
That's a great story. Thank you. So please share with me how you source deal flow. What's your acquisition strategy that you utilize?
Well, like anything, when you first start out, it's hard to get deals. Nobody really wants to talk to you, and you kind of have to prove yourself. But fortunately, I've been around long enough now, and our entities have been around long enough that we've proven over the years that we can close deals. And when you're dealing with brokers or sellers or, anybody else, they want to make sure that, you're not wasting their time and vice versa. And so we've proven that we close deals. So now it's not nearly as hard. The deals tend to find us. Most of the deals that come in, we can tell right away if it's going to be something that's going to fit, and we'll let them know. So we're not wasting anybody's time, theirs or ours. And any that we decide to move forward on, we probably close like 99% of them unless something crazy pops up, during escrow. Yeah. We had one just recently, we're getting ready to close, and all of a sudden the seller said, I got to come up with another $4,000 on my end to close it. I'm like, well, we're not going to pay you another $4,000, so you better figure it out. And that one fell through. So, stuff like that happens from time to time. But generally, if it's in escrow, we're going to close it.
Yeah. And what would you say are the key markets that you operate in, and why do you select those markets?
Well, we're in the Midwest, the South and Southeast mainly right now. That's over the last, 5-10 years. That's where the best deals were and the highest cap rates. In Voyager, we focus on workforce type housing, so C plus, B minus type properties. Those properties were still very reasonable in that area, and the cap rates were still very friendly. In Voyager 2, we don't use any leverage, so everything is paid in cash, and we're still getting nice returns on those. So, we're still getting, even today, they're harder to find, but we're still getting, cap rates in the 12 to 15% on acquisition. So, and then ones that we buy and fix up might be a little higher. We got to put a little more effort into those to get them to where they're rentable. So that's kind of what we look for in those markets. We also include vacant land in our portfolio. And we've got about 1,600 parcels of vacant land around the country, which we sell on contract. So it's basically like renting land to the people, but some do end up paying it off. So that provides nice cash flow. And those are in a number of states across the country. And we also do tax liens and Fund 2. We just launched Fund 3 recently. And Fund 3 is actually more of a value add multifamily fund. And so in Fund 3, what we're looking for are properties that we can come in and do some value add and increase the value of the properties.
Yeah, yeah. And share with me what your investment philosophy is. How do you determine whether a deal is worth doing?
Well, it boils down to the numbers. That's what we look at first. And if it doesn't fit our financial model, then we don't even go any further. Of course, we'll take a look at the visuals too initially. But if it doesn't fit the financial model, then we don't waste any time on it. We just move on. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you generate value once you've made that investment? I always love to hear what's your risk mitigation strategy that you put forward.
Well, a few things. With rental properties, we're definitely not slumlords. So. Our value proposition is we have very nice properties for the class that we're in. Right. So what we do is, we take good care of the properties. People want to rent from us. Mm-hmm. And then once they're in, they want to stay. Yeah. Because, hey, when you call up and you need some maintenance, you want to make sure it gets done in a timely fashion. And then, if we're outsourcing the property management, we hold the property managers to a similar standard. So we want to take good care of the properties because, we're in it for the long haul. These are long-term investments for us. We're building long-term reliable cash flow for our investors, that they can put in their retirement account and live off for, years and years. Because, workforce housing is never going away. It's kind of in the middle of the market. When times are good, folks in the D-type properties move up to the C's, and when times are bad, folks in the B-, they move down to the C's. So it's just kind of in that sweet spot there. So we really like it. There are some challenges, with repairs and maintenance. Sometimes they can tend to be harder on the properties, but we try to maintenance-proof the properties as much as we can. Putting in not carpet in the properties that you got to change every time somebody moves out. Putting in hardwood floor, not hardwood, but laminate type floors. Mm-hmm. Those types of things to more maintenance through the property if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, I'd love to hear who the key players are that are involved that really allow you to execute your asset management and acquisition strategy.
Well, I always said business is a team sport. I played sports when I was a kid growing up. I went through college on a football scholarship. Nice. I love team sports because it's, analogous to life. You have to work with different types of people. They all have to work together for a common goal. And that's why I love team sports for kids. It's a great way to kind of, get prepared for life in the real world. And so our team, everybody's good at different things. I'm definitely not the best at everything, that we do. And thank goodness for that. But John Gianmarco, he's our CFO. He's been around for a long time. He's been a CFO for large corporations, handling hundreds of millions of dollars on an annual basis. Vanessa Medlock, she's our COO. She runs the day-to-day operations. She keeps our property managers in line and oversees the bookkeeping. Andrew Adler, he's our CIO, Chief Investment Officer. He's a young stud, and he goes like a million miles an hour, finding deals, and can rip apart a deal and put it back together in quicker than anybody I've ever seen. And that's the other cool thing about Voyager is we got guys that are like myself in their 50s, John, who's a little older. And then we've got some younger people too, that, like Vanessa and Andrew. And, so we got a good range of folks on the staff. So, if anything ever happens to us or someday we want to retire, we got some, good youngsters to kind of take over. Right.
Absolutely. It's the next generation that'll keep it going.
That's right. They got to take care of us when we're old.
Right. Absolutely. Perfect. Well, David, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It was great to hear more about Voyager, and to really hear your background as well in the industry. And we really look forward to working together.
Yeah, we're very pleased with Verivest, and longtime clients, and obviously just with our new fund Voyager 3, got set up with Verivest as well. So be doing the third party administrator for Verivest for Fund 3. So we've got a long and fruitful relationship between our companies.
Yes, it'll be great. It'll definitely be great. We'll enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.